Behind me are 25 white belts. And today, they each get the chance to try and submit this black belt. If they succeed, they go home with the newest pair of Hayabysa gloves.
The rules are quite simple. If you win by submission, you win the pair of Hayabysa gloves. Should no one win by submission, the best performer will go home with the prize.
My name is Miguel. I started about 18 months ago, but then I started like once a week without the gi. And the second year, now this year, I've been stepping it up with the gi.
I'm Bran, and I've been training Jiu Jitsu for almost 3 years, and I'm number 5. My game plan is to survive.
My name is Terrence. I've been training Jiu Jitsu for now, I think, 7-8 months.
And what number did you draw?
11.
16, okay.
I am Shiran Quadrati. I training MMA and Jiu Jitsu. And you are Jiu Jitsu and we are MMA. For 5 tournament and for goud Matai.
8, oeh, early. Robin is de laatste. Hey, no!
My name is Juan. I've been training Jiu-Jitsu for 6 months, but I do have around 10 years to the background.
Leo the black belt took this challenge on 2 days notice after the original black belt had to pull out. Leo just came back from vacation, he's had 0 training, 0 preparation, and he's going to have to do this without any gas tank.
My name is Leonardo Cristalli. I've been training Jiu-Jitsu for 9 years.
What does Jiu-Jitsu mean to you?
What Jiu-Jitsu means to me? To me, Jiu-Jitsu means balance. What you actually find in life, you need to balance stiffness with flexibility and be flexible in life to adapt to any situation.
And then it was time for match number 1. Leo against the first white belt and the first of 25 people he's gonna face today.
Stand up. Yes. 3, 2, 1, go!
And the white belt immediately went for the takedown, catching Leo off guard completely. Before each match, the black belt gets to decide whether he wants to start standing or on the ground. He ended up in half guard, passed the guard, and then went into a great position to try and work for the submission. Leo was waiting patiently in this position, waiting for his opponent to make a mistake, and then he immediately got the tap and win number 1. Matches could end in 2 ways, either by submission, or if the white belt didn't show enough activity, a clock would be called in. Then the white belt would have 30 seconds to get a submission. And after some grip fighting, Leo went for the sweep, getting into a good position, showing some skills, and ends in a top position. Leo is threatening the armbar position. He kept it for control, and then when his opponent made a mistake, he turned it into an Americana. He got a position, waited, and then after that turned it into a straight armbar, and then his opponent had to tap. A great submission by Leo for win number 2. And then it was time for the Judo Black Belt. Officially as a Judo Black Belt, you don't count as a white belt, but we made some exceptions.
This is a Judo Black Belt, so sorry.
I know.
He knew. Yes, go. Go and go. Oh, it's good. Go, no, it's good. No.
Leo never backs down from a challenge and decided to start standing against the Judo Black Belt. And after some grip fighting, it immediately showed that the Judo Black Belt was extremely confident in this position. Playing with the gi, moving him around, and even my coach was telling him to pull guard, but Leo didn't listen and paid the price. Getting into an awful position against someone who is a Judo Black Belt. And he had a lot of trouble from this position. Juan was on top, he was heavy and he was holding the gi. He was making sure he couldn't move. And after some time on bottom, the Judo Black Belt made a mistake. He gave away his back. And Leo as a black belt immediately capitalized, getting his back, trying to get both hooks in.
Good.
And now Leo, the BJJ fighter, was trying to get an armbar on the Judo Black Belt. At this point, the fight was already 6 minutes long when Leo finally got a leg lock position, one of his favorite positions. Juan, however, didn't look like he was gonna tap, and after some more fighting, Leo finally got into a perfect position and got the tap.
Yes.
After such a hard battle for Leo, it was the #1 priority to get into some good positions early. He did it by getting his back, and after getting it, he had some time to breathe and to slow down his heart rate. And despite some grip fighting, it wasn't enough, and Leo got the tap.
Yes. Good.
And then it was time for Bran, the man. Leo chose for Bran to start on bottom position, which he immediately capitalized on. He went into some great positions, he got his back, and despite Bran trying to get out of it, he could keep the position, and after a while, he got into top mount and then was threatening the submission.
Come guys, reaction.
Maybe he was a little bit too eager and he ended up in full guard. However, for someone like Leo, that isn't a problem. He kept the position, he controlled the arm, locked it in, and then got the tap for another one.
What's your reaction to your match? How did it
Oh,
go?
my match. I went into the match knowing I was going to be submitted, and that's exactly what happened. So I'm very proud of my performance today.
And after some tough first couple of fights, Leo found his rhythm and started dominating his opponents. At this point, Leo wasn't even at the halfway point. However, he got into a great rhythm, submitting a lot of opponents really quickly.
Nice.
When you have to do 25 matches in a row, one of your highest priorities, especially for somebody that hasn't been training, is keeping your energy. You just need to utilize your skills to try and win from your opponents. You can't be aggressive, but your opponents can be, of course, because they're fresh, they're ready, they're waiting, but then you have to kind of negate that by using as little energy as possible, keep the positions, and mostly just wait. Wait for the white belts to make mistakes. At the end of the day, they are white belts and they're gonna make mistakes. And as a black belt, you can capitalize on them, which he did perfectly. He submitted his opponents back to back to back and went through a couple of matches really quickly. However, after match number 3 against Juan, he was feeling a little bit tired. He got some energy back, however, he still had a lot of matches to do, and it was showing that it was more going to be a cardio challenge than a skill challenge for him.
Come on. Leg op het tap. You did it. Really good.
Despite some fatigueness, Leo went into his next match against Terrence. Terrence, however, felt that it was his time and he was ready to pull off an upset. Leo made a mistake, fell down and almost got taken into back mount. Terrence went on top position and the crowd went wild. Leo pushed Terrence's left arm off, making sure he could breathe again, and then got the leg and got into a better position. After that, he immediately passed guard, went to top position and made sure that he wasn't gonna make another mistake again. Went for the armbar and got the tap.
Side tap, side.
A quick mistake from Leo, but he immediately turned it around and got another win.
What's your immediate reaction?
My immediate reaction was, I made him tired. Like I really put in some work, so I'm proud of myself.
You gonna train more jiu-jitsu now? Or?
Most definitely, I gotta tap him. This is now my life goal.
Leo wanted to make sure he wasn't gonna make another mistake again. However, Miguel immediately showed some early problems. Leo was trying to get the takedown but made a mistake. He fell down and then he had given away one hook. Miguel was trying to get the second one, however, didn't get it. Miguel kept fighting, but now it was Leo's turn to show he wasn't gonna make the same mistake twice. And after some grip fighting, Leo turned towards his knees. However, Miguel followed him perfectly. He still had his left hook in, trying to get his right hook. Leo was fighting his hands, trying to shake him off, but he didn't manage to do it. And after spending a lot of time in back mount position, now it was Leo's turn to get out and go into a better position.
30 more seconds.
After spending some time on top, the clock had been called in. Now it was Miguel's turn to try and get a submission in 30 seconds. However, Leo was controlling it and he wasn't gonna give it away. He went into another better position, got the left arm across his face,
5,
and then threatening
4,
for the armbar, didn't get
3,
it, but the time had run
2,
out and Leo had
1,
another
break.
win in the bag.
It went pretty well. Like I started on the feet and I could arm drag him and I could take his back, but I had a good position there. But I could feel like it was just that close to get the double hook in. But for someone of that experience, it's really hard to finish it. And yeah, a lot of respect for Leo.
Yeah, you're gonna train more jiu-jitsu now?
Yeah, now I have to. I feel like I have to.
And after some trouble, it was back to winning ways for Leo. First getting a beautiful leg lock submission, which meant another win. And then in his next fight, he immediately went for an armbar, which he got, and then his opponent tapped. With 10 matches to go, Leo really refined his game plan. He just went for a lot of leg locks and it worked every single time. He got into a good position, got the leg lock, and then ended up tapping his opponents. However, was that game plan gonna work against his next 4 opponents? All of them were over 190 pounds.
5 seconds to move. 5, 4. Nice. Step.
And the answer seemed yes, with Leo getting another submission by leg lock. One of the most impressive things that was at this point, Leo wasn't really slowing down just yet. Despite having zero training, zero time to prepare, just coming back from vacation, he wasn't really slowing down. However, the tide seemed to turn a little bit. His opponents were giving him more problems than he wanted to, and it slowed down the pace of the fights.
And stop.
Finn is one of the more experienced white belts at our gym. He competes quite often, he just won gold in his competition and is somebody that's gonna get his blue belt pretty soon. However, it was Leo's time, he got the leg lock position and got the tap.
Hati?
Going into his last couple of fights, Leo got a couple minutes to slow down his heart rate and drink some water. He was really struggling at this point. He had nothing left in the gas tank, but he still had a couple more matches to go. In what is already a difficult challenge, Leo was more fighting with himself than with his opponents at this point. His last 6 opponents were fresh and eagerly waiting to fight Leo. Leo had to solely rely on his skill. However, when your opponent comes in that explosive, it's gonna give you trouble anyway. At this point, the Hayabysa gloves were still up for grabs. However, one of the things that impressed me the most was the high quality of all these white belts. Most of them have never even competed before, and now they're here facing a black belt. There are a lot of people watching, there's a camera crew, there's going to be a lot of pressure. However, none of them showed that it mattered to them.
5,
they came in and they had
4,
one goal, and that was to win by submission. And they gave Leo a really hard challenge.
1, break.
The clock only had to be called in a couple times. Leo won pretty much every single match by submission, almost all of them by leg lock. Leo was showing a lot of signs of fatigue. However, every single time I thought this was maybe the match that he was gonna lose, he came back and he won.
3, 2, 1, break. Come on.
And then it was time for Shiran to step up. Shiran is an amateur MMA fighter at our gym who won his last fight via rear naked choke in 30 seconds. Shiran had one thing in mind, and that was winning these gloves. His old gloves were all used up and he has to throw them away, so winning these gloves would be a huge opportunity for him. Officially, as an MMA fighter, you don't count as a white belt, just as the same with the Judo Black Belt. However, today we made some exceptions to make sure we had some really tough fights, and Shiran proved to be one. He immediately asserted some dominance, getting into a really good position and giving Leo a lot of trouble. At this moment, Leo was fighting on autopilot and gave away third position, one of Shiran's favorites. He was threatening to take back mount and almost got both hooks in, and after some fighting he actually did and got Leo's back. Leo was tired and was giving everything to try and pull him off. However, Shiran wasn't gonna give up.
Come on, guys.
This has been the most trouble Leo has been in so far. Is he gonna get out or not? Shiran turned towards his back and now he was locking in the submission. Leo was giving everything he got to try and get out. However, he wasn't getting it. Then Shiran turned towards his stomach, flattening out Leo completely. Leo was in so much trouble. Is he gonna get out? Shiran got the arm under the neck and he was applying the choke. And then Leo had to tap. Shiran submitted the black belt.
We're gonna still do the last matches, yeah? It was good.
بسیار تجربه خوب بود برای من چون که من وقت کم میشه 1 سال میشه تمرین جیجیتسو میکنم دیگه من خیلی تمرینای سخت هارد میکنم دیگه MMA فایت میکنم جیجیتسو و 4 مدال جیجیتسو دارم طلا.
The competitor Leo he didn't want to give up. He wanted to finish every single fight. It would have been easy for him to say, hey, I lost, I'm done. But no, that's not Leo. He was ready to finish his last couple of opponents and prove to himself that he could finish the challenge. His second to last fight was against Matti. And after starting from bottom position, he ended up getting on top and dominated. He went into north-south, controlled it, and then the clock had been called in. Matti couldn't do anything, couldn't get out, and then Leo won.
And break. Okay.
And then it was time for the last match. Leo was ready to give every single bit of energy that he had left into this match. He wanted to dominate and end on a strong note. However, his opponent wasn't ready to give up also. He had been waiting for a long time. He saw 24 people before him and he was ready for a fight. Leo was showing a lot of aggression and then ended up getting a judo throw in his 25th match. After that, got into a good position, got the arm and got the tap and won. And finished the challenge, competing against 25 people in a row, winning 24, almost all of them by submission.
Fucking did it, bro. Amazing.
Please, clap your hands to all of you, because you're tough guys. You really are good. Compliments to all of you guys. And I want a big clap to Shiran, huh?
Okay, first of all, we're gonna give away the gloves. There's no question about it. Shiran.
Good, buddy. Really well deserved.
Congratulations. Okay. The gloves are a gift from Hayabysa. Thank you, Hayabysa, for sponsoring the prize. They're for you. Because I think everybody did so well, I think I'm going to give away another prize. And that is to the best performer. Leo gets to choose. Who do you pick?
You got it, my man.
Miguel?
Miguel, come. Guys, Miguel doesn't have that much experience, but he was a challenge opponent. So with this one, we hope you get more time into the mat. So we want to see you grow. So push it, man.
BJJ next. Thank you, Impact Fit, for letting me use the gym. Thank you, Leo, the black belt. He came in on 2 days' notice. He did a really good job. Thank you very much. And he put on a great performance. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and see you next time. Woods.
Thank you. Woods.